The conference room at Morrison Tech Solutions smelled like new money. Leather chairs, glass walls, and my sister Victoria's ego inflated to match the $16 million Series B valuation she'd been bragging about for 3 months. I sat in the back corner, exactly where I had positioned myself for the past 4 years of quarterly board meetings, notepad in hand, observing. Victoria stood at the head of the table in a power suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. I want to address the elephant in the room. We're discussing serious expansion opportunities today, multi-million-dollar decisions. This isn't for everyone to understand. Her eyes landed on me with that particular blend of pity and condescension I'd grown accustomed to. Our father, Richard Morrison, sat 2 seats away, nodding approvingly. He had always been her biggest cheerleader since she pitched the initial concept for Morrison Tech during a family dinner 6 years ago. Your sister's right, Maya. These board meetings can get pretty technical. Maybe you'd be more comfortable waiting in the lobby. We can catch you up later. I smiled politely, the same smile perfected over years of family gatherings where my accomplishments were footnotes and Victoria's were headlines. I'm fine here, Dad. I'd like to observe. Victoria laughed, and several board members, most personally vetted by me before joined in. That's sweet. But seriously, we're about to discuss our Series C funding round. Valuations in excess of $200 million. The financial complexity alone, I understand, I said quietly, opening my notepad. Please continue. Derek, my brother-in-law who had married Victoria 3 years ago and positioned himself as the company's chief operating officer despite zero operational experience, leaned forward. Maya, no offense, but do you even know what a Series C funding round is? I have a general idea, I replied. A general idea? Derek exchanged glances with Victoria. This is exactly what we were worried about. Victoria, maybe we should implement that board observer policy we discussed. Limit attendance to people who actually contribute financially. The words hung in the air like a challenge. My phone vibrated in my pocket, probably a daily update from my investment firm, but I ignored it. Victoria tapped her pen against the table. Derek has a point. Maya, I love you. You're my sister. But let's be honest about your financial situation. You work at that little nonprofit. You live in that modest apartment in the suburbs. You drive a 7-year-old Honda. There's no shame in that, but this... She gestured around the room. This is a different world. A world that requires serious capital, serious understanding, serious commitment. I'm committed, I said. Committed. How? Dad interjected. Maya, sweetheart, you make what? $45,000 a year at that charity. Victoria's company is valued at $16 million and about to enter negotiations that could push it past $200 million. These are numbers you can't even conceptualize. The board members had gone quiet, watching the family drama unfold with uncomfortable fascination. I conceptualized them fine, I said softly. Really? Victoria leaned back, arms crossed. K-pop quiz. What's our current burn rate? $860,000 per month, down from $1.2 million last quarter after you optimized the cloud infrastructure costs. Victoria's eyebrows rose slightly. Lucky guess. What about our customer acquisition cost? $142 per enterprise client, giving a customer lifetime value ratio of approximately 8-to-1, above industry standard. The room was silent. How do you know that? Derek demanded. I read the quarterly reports, I said. They're in the shared drive. The shared drive that's password protected, Victoria said slowly. I'm an observer at board meetings, I pointed out. I assumed I'd have access to basic financial documents. Dad cleared his throat. Maya, the point remains. You're here as a courtesy because you're family. But Victoria is right. We're about to discuss matters that require actual investment capability. The Series C round needs anchor investors who can commit tens of millions of dollars. That's not your world. What is my world, Dad? I asked genuinely. You help people, he said, not unkindly. You work with homeless shelters and food banks. It's admirable, but it's not this. Victoria built this company from nothing. She secured funding, brought in talent, created the technology. She's going to be a $100 million millionaire before she's 40. You're doing important work in your own way. The condescension was so thick I could have cut it with a knife, but I expected nothing less. This was the Morrison family dynamic in miniature. Victoria the golden child, Dad the proud enabler, Derek the opportunist, and me, the tolerated afterthought. I understand, I said, closing my notepad. So this Series C round, how much are you looking to raise? Victoria sighed dramatically. 80 to 100 million. We have preliminary interest from Sequoia and Andreessen Horowitz, and we're in talks with 3 other top-tier venture capital firms. The lead investor will likely need to commit 30 to 40 million minimum. Does that satisfy your curiosity? It does, I said. And you're confident you'll close the round? Absolutely. We have a revolutionary product, a proven business model, and year-over-year revenue growth of 340%. Every VC in Silicon Valley is trying to get into this round. We're oversubscribed before we've even officially opened fundraising. That's impressive, I said sincerely. It is, Dad agreed, beaming. Victoria has a gift. Always has. Some people are born entrepreneurs, born leaders. Others are born helpers. Both are important, but they're not the same thing. I nodded, absorbing the familiar sting of being the lesser Morrison sibling. Can I ask one more question before the formal meeting starts? I said. Make it quick, Victoria said, glancing at her watch. A Cartier tank, the series of funding that got her started 4 years ago. The 12 million that gave her runway to build the initial product and hire the first 20 employees. Where did that come from? I asked. Victoria frowned. That's public record, Maya. A consortium of angel investors and early-stage VCs. Why? Just curious about the cap table, I said. And the Series B funding 18 months ago, the additional 32 million that funded expansion into Europe. No point, Derek asked irritably. No point, I assured him, just trying to understand the full financial picture, you know, since I apparently can't conceptualize these numbers. The Series B was led by Benchmark Capital, with participation from existing investors and several new institutional funds. Maya, this is basic company history. If you're going to sit in board meetings, at least do the minimal research. I have, I said. One more question. The Series A and Series B funding was all that institutional money or any individual investors? Why does that matter? Dad asked. It doesn't. I'm just curious who believed in Morrison Tech from the very beginning. Before it was the darling of Silicon Valley, when it was just Victoria's idea and a prototype. Victoria's expression softened slightly, apparently touched by what she perceived as admiration for her journey. The very first money, the seed round before Series A, came from a private investment group, Meridian Strategic Ventures. They committed 2 million when we were nothing but a pitch deck in a dream. That seed money let us build the MVP that attracted the Series A investors. Meridian Strategic Ventures, I repeated. They sound important. They were crucial, Victoria admitted. Quiet partners ever since, very hands-off, which is what I wanted. They've participated in every funding round, including 50 million into Series B. They're our largest single shareholder, actually, though they've never asked for a board seat or tried to interfere. 50 million, I said. That's serious money. That's what serious investors do, Derek said pointedly. They write big checks. Not everyone can play in that league. No, I agreed. Not everyone can. My phone vibrated again and again. 3 urgent messages from my firm. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress. Off the rack. Not that anyone here would know the difference. Where are you going? Victoria asked. The meeting's about to start. I need to make a phone call. Just a minute. Maya, we're about to begin, Dad protested. I understand. Won't take long. I walked out of the conference room, their annoyed expressions following me. The Morrison Tech offices occupied the entire 20th floor of a downtown high-rise, all glass and chrome and aggressive modernity. I found a quiet corner near the windows overlooking the city and opened my phone. The messages were from Catherine Wu, managing partner at Meridian Strategic Ventures, my managing partner technically, since I'd founded the firm 9 years ago with the trust fund money Grandma Morrison had left me. The only Morrison who'd ever believed I was capable of more than charity work. Board meeting today. How's it going? I typed. Meeting going exactly as expected. Need to execute option 7 from the contingency folder. Option 7? Are you sure? That's the nuclear option. I'm sure. Initiate withdrawal protocols. Liquidate everything by end of business today. Maya, that's 94 million across all rounds. This will collapse the Series C negotiations. Are you certain? Absolutely. Full withdrawal. Sell all equity positions. Notify the CFO and board immediately per the shareholder agreement. Make sure the notification clearly identifies Meridian Strategic Ventures as my personal investment vehicle. No more anonymity. Executing now. This is going to be spectacular. That's the idea. I pocketed my phone and walked back into the conference room. Victoria was in the middle of her presentation, clicking through a PowerPoint showing projected revenue growth and market penetration strategies. Sorry for the interruption, I said, taking my seat. It's fine, Victoria said, though her tone suggested it wasn't. As I was saying, our path to a $300 million valuation is clear. We have product market fit, scalable technology, and a team to execute. The Series C funding will accelerate our timeline by 18 months and position us for a potential IPO or strategic acquisition by 2027. Ambitious, one of the board members commented. Realistic, Victoria corrected. We have commitments from Tier 1 VCs who see what we see, that Morrison Tech is going to dominate the enterprise software space. My phone buzzed again, then again and again. Victoria paused mid-sentence. Maya, if you need to step out again. No, I'm good, I said, silencing my phone. Around the table, several board members pulled out their phones, expressions shifting from attentive to confused to alarmed. The CFO, Martin Chin, stood abruptly. Excuse me, I need to... His phone rang, cutting through Victoria's presentation. I'm sorry, I have to take this. He stepped away, speaking in urgent, hushed tones. Victoria's presentation faltered. Another board member's phone rang. Then another. What the hell is going on? Derek demanded. Martin returned, face ashen. Victoria, we need to talk. In private. We're in the middle of a board meeting, she said. Now, Martin repeated, and something in his voice made Victoria set down her clicker and follow him out. Dad followed immediately, leaving Derek, me, and the increasingly agitated board members in uncomfortable silence. Through the glass walls, I watched Martin show Victoria something on his tablet. Her expression went from annoyed to confused to horrified. Dad's face turned a concerning shade of red. They rushed back in. Everyone, we need to pause the meeting, Victoria announced, voice tight. There's been some kind of mistake with our cap table. Our largest investor, Meridian Strategic Ventures, their lawyers just sent notice that they're executing an immediate withdrawal of all invested capital. They can't do that. Investment contracts don't work that way, Derek said. They can if they're structured as convertible notes with withdrawal provisions, Martin said grimly. Which these were. Every single round the seed, the Series A, the Series B Meridian maintained withdrawal rights we agreed to in exchange for favorable valuation terms. How much money are we talking about? A board member asked. $94 million, Martin said. 2 million seed, 12 million Series A, 30 million Series A follow-on, 50 million Series B. With contractual interest, it's actually 96.3 million. The room erupted in shocked exclamations. Victoria held up her hand. This has to be a mistake. Meridian has been a silent partner for 4 years. Never interfered, never made demands. Why would they suddenly withdraw everything? According to the notice, Martin said, reading from his tablet, the withdrawal is being executed at the discretion of the fund's founder and managing partner. It's completely legal under the shareholder agreement we signed. Who's the founder? Dad demanded. Get them on the phone. This is insane. You don't just pull $94 million out of a functioning company without warning. The notice identifies the founder, Martin said slowly. Victoria, Dad, Derek, and every board member looked at me. The notice says Meridian Strategic Ventures was founded and is wholly owned by Maya Morrison, Martin said. She's the sole decision maker for all investment activities and portfolio management. The silence that followed was absolute. That's impossible, Victoria said finally. Maya works at a nonprofit. She doesn't have that kind of money. According to the corporate filings, Martin continued, Meridian Strategic Ventures was established 9 years ago, with initial capital of $25 million. It has since grown to a portfolio value of approximately $380 million across various technology investments. Morrison Tech Solutions represents their largest single investment and their longest-held position. Dad shook his head. No, this is a mistake. Someone with the same name. Maya, tell them it's a mistake. I picked up my phone, still buzzing with notifications. It's not a mistake, Dad. What? Victoria's voice came out barely a whisper. Meridian Strategic Ventures is my firm, I said calmly. I founded it 9 years ago with the inheritance Grandma Morrison left me, the trust fund she set up that nobody in the family except the estate lawyers knew about. $25 million she'd accumulated over her lifetime. left specifically to me because she said I was the only Morrison who understood the value of quiet competence. Derek started, then stopped, unable to finish. 6 years ago, I continued, Victoria came to me specifically to me, though she doesn't remember it that way, asking if I knew investors who might be interested in her startup idea. I looked at her business plan, ran the numbers, and believed in the concept. So, I invested $2 million as seed funding through Meridian, keeping the ownership structure private because if Victoria found out her little sister was the primary investor, she'd reject the money. You're lying, Victoria said, but there was no conviction in her voice. When the Series A came around, I continued, I personally recruited the other investors, made the introductions, and led the round with $12 million of my own capital. The VCs whose names are on the cap table, they came in because I convinced them to. Same with the Series B. I put in $50 million and brought Benchmark to the table. Every major strategic decision, every important hire, every expansion plan, I've been reviewing and approving them for 4 years through my board observer rights. Martin scrolled through documents frantically. He's right. The shareholder agreements all give Meridian final approval rights on major decisions. These are unusually strong provisions. Meridian Maya could have blocked any decision we've made. Why? Victoria asked, and for the first time, she sounded vulnerable rather than angry. For 4 years, I wanted to see if you could succeed on merit alone. I believed in your technology, Victoria. I genuinely did, and I still do. The product is revolutionary, but I wanted to know if you could build a company based on the quality of your work, not on family connections or pity investments. And could I? Victoria asked. You could, I confirmed. You're genuinely brilliant at product development and strategy. Morrison Tech succeeds because you're talented, not because of me. But here's the problem, you're terrible at recognizing contributions of people you've decided aren't worthy of your respect. Dad found his voice. Maya, sweetheart, if there's been some miscommunication, there's been no miscommunication, I said. For 4 years, I've sat in these meetings and listened to you explain why I couldn't understand basic business concepts. I've watched you patronize me, dismiss me, and treat my questions like adorable attempts at participation. Today, Victoria told me this meeting was for serious investors only. Derek asked if I even knew what a Series C funding round was. You, Dad, said I couldn't conceptualize numbers in the millions. We didn't mean, Derek started. You meant exactly what you said, I interrupted. And that's fine. People reveal who they are when they think there are no consequences. But here's the thing about being a silent partner. You get to stay silent until you choose not to. Victoria's phone rang. She answered automatically, listened, then said, Yes, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. She hung up and looked at me. That was Sequoia. They're withdrawing their interest in the Series C. Word has spread that the primary investor is pulling out. They're concerned about stability. Andreessen Horowitz just emailed, Martin said, checking his inbox. Same thing. They want to pause discussions until the situation with Meridian is resolved. One by one, the VCs who had been fighting for a piece of Morrison Tech's Series C were backing away, spooked by the sudden capital withdrawal and the uncertainty it created. Leah, please, Victoria said. I'd never heard my sister beg before. Don't do this. The company needs that capital. Without the Series C, we'll have to scale back operations. We might have to lay people off. Everything we've built, everything I funded, I corrected gently. Victoria, 94 million of the money that built Morrison Tech came from me. The other investors contributed 22 million combined. You've been running a company 76% funded by your little sister, the one you thought couldn't understand board meetings. What do you want? Derek asked bluntly. You want us to apologize? A board seat? Name your price. I don't want anything from Morrison Tech, I said. The company will be fine. Strong revenue, solid product, legitimate market demand. You'll find new investors eventually, though probably at a lower valuation once word spreads that your cap table was built on convertible notes with withdrawal provisions. Then why are you doing this? Dad demanded. Because, I said, standing and gathering my things, I spent 28 years being the Morrison who didn't matter. Good enough to invite to meetings, but not good enough to be taken seriously. I built a $380 million investment portfolio, became the primary funder of your flagship company, and you still looked at me and saw someone who couldn't conceptualize large numbers. We didn't know, Victoria said. You didn't ask, I countered. Not once in 4 years did any of you wonder where Meridian Strategic Ventures came from, who was behind it, or why they were invested in your success. You just took the money and assumed you earned it through your brilliance alone. My phone buzzed with a message from Catherine. All equity positions sold. Funds transferred. Morrison Tech shares purchased by Holding Consortium. More hands-on investors than you were. Good luck to them. Equity has been sold. Your new primary investors are a consortium that specializes in operational turnarounds. They'll want board seats, voting rights, and regular operational reviews. No more silent partnership. Maya, please, Dad said. Your family, we can work this out. I am family. I agreed. Which is why I invested in the first place and stayed invested even when I could have liquidated years ago at significant profit. But family respect goes both ways. You don't get to treat someone as intellectually and financially inferior for 4 years and then claim loyalty when the bill comes due. I walked toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, Victoria, you really do have a great product. Morrison Tech will probably survive and maybe even thrive, but it won't be with my money or my network. Good luck with the new investors. Wait, Victoria said. The Series C, if we don't get the funding, I said, slow down expansion, focus on profitability. Prove you can build something sustainable without constantly raising venture capital. Ironically, that's probably the best thing that could happen to the company long term. You've been so focused on the next funding round that you've neglected the fundamentals in your other investments. Martin asked about the $380 million portfolio. What happens to that? It continues as before. I have stakes in 17 companies, none of which treat me like I can't write a balance sheet. Morrison Tech was personal, so Morrison Tech gets sold. The rest of my portfolio is performing exactly as projected. Derek was still processing. You're really a venture capitalist. I really am. One of the more successful ones in the region, actually. Though I prefer to stay out of the spotlight. The nonprofit work I do, I fund personally. I contribute about $4 million a year to homeless services, food security programs, and education initiatives. The $45,000 salary I take from the nonprofit is because I genuinely enjoy the work, not because I need the money. $1 million, Dad repeated faintly. Give or take, I said. Depends on the year, and which programs need the most support. Grandma Morrison taught me that wealth means nothing if you don't use it to make the world better. She also taught me that people reveal their true character when they think you're powerless. Both lessons have served me well. Victoria's phone rang again. I looked at it, and then at her. It's our bank. They probably want to discuss the sudden change in our financial position. You should answer that. And Victoria, for the record, I never doubted your ability to succeed. I just wish you'd believed I could succeed too. I left the conference room and walked to the elevators. Behind me I could hear raised voices, frantic phone calls, the sound of a company entering crisis mode. Part of me felt guilty. 90 employees at Morrison Tech would be affected. People who'd done nothing wrong except work for founders who couldn't see past their own assumptions. But I'd structured the withdrawal carefully. The company had enough runway to survive 18 months without the Series C, long enough to either find new investors or become profitable organically. No one would lose their jobs immediately. The new investors I'd sold to were tough but fair. They'd push Victoria and Derek to be better operators, which was exactly what the company needed. My phone rang as I reached the lobby. Catherine Wu's name appeared on the screen. It's done, she said. Morrison Tech shares sold, funds transferred to your main investment account. The tech blogs are already picking up the story. Major VC firm executes unprecedented withdrawal from a promising startup. By tomorrow morning, every investor in the valley will know what happened. Good, I said. Let them know. Silent money is powerful, but sometimes public money sends a better message. The consortium that bought your position wants to meet with you, Catherine continued. They're impressed by your ability to identify and nurture early-stage companies. They want to know if you're interested in co-investing on future deals. I'll think about it, I said. Right now, I need a vacation. Maybe somewhere quiet where no one knows what a Series C funding round is. Catherine laughed. You earned it. Call me when you're back. We have 3 new pitch decks to review, and one looks very promising. A biotech startup working on accelerated vaccine development. Send me the details, I said. I'll look at them from the beach. I hung up and walked into the afternoon sunshine. My 7-year-old Honda was parked in the garage, paid off and reliable. I could have bought any car, moved to a penthouse, worn designer clothes, and flashed wealth like a badge. But Grandma Morrison had taught me that real power doesn't announce itself. Real power works quietly, invests wisely, and only reveals itself when revelation serves a purpose. Today's purpose had been served. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. "We need to talk, please." I typed back, "We just did. Good luck with everything." Another text from Dad. "Maya, I'm so sorry. I never realized. Can we have dinner this week? I want to understand." I stared at it, then typed, "Maybe in a few months. I need some distance right now, but Dad, you raised a daughter who built a successful company and a daughter who built a successful investment firm. Be proud of both of us." His response came quickly. "I am. I always was. I just didn't show it the right way." "Oh," I replied. "He didn't, but it's not too late to start." I put my phone in my pocket and drove out of the parking garage, leaving behind the gleaming high-rise, the family drama, and the boardroom where I'd spent 4 years being invisible. Tomorrow, business publications would run stories about the mysterious investor who'd torpedoed Morrison Tech's Series C. Analysts would debate motivations, question business judgment, wonder if I'd made a mistake walking away from a potentially lucrative investment. But tonight, I was just Maya Morrison, venture capitalist, philanthropist, and the woman who'd finally stopped apologizing for taking up space. I turned on the radio and drove toward the sunset, already planning my next investment, because that's what serious investors do. Recognize opportunity. Deploy capital strategically. Act and let results speak for themselves.